and gentlemen, this is the Wargame Cup Finals. The matchup is NATO versus NATO. Our first player playing as blue will be Fiva55, and his opponent will be Delta, who's immediately rallying at tons of infantry. If you would have told me at the beginning of this 3-month-long madness that the finals would be these two players, I would have called you a liar. There were so many better players, so many more reputable players, and now it's come down to this. Two people who have really earned their way up. Delta, of course, has had quite a few near misses and has done a lot of creative play, something you haven't seen a lot of in the tournament. He's been using a lot of odd units that nobody's been using and coming out on top regardless, purely on tactics, using just oddball units. And Fiva55 has eliminated a lot of high-profile opponents as well. Most notably, he got rid of Tiga, he got rid of Aluka, and he also got rid of that Guru, so he's not had a very easy path to victory here. And so now he's in the finals against Delta. Delta, of course, is a huge fan favorite. He's a big part of the team community. Fiva, on the other hand, is not so much. Both have had their different sets of practice partners, and both have been adequately preparing for this matchup. In the future, I will be doing some of these practice matches, and looks like from Fiva55 we see quite a few of these Leopard 2A4s, lots of marder VTS 1s, the good old Bradley CFV. This is a winning unit that got him 2 command kills last game he was in against. Who was he against? Aluka. It was Aluka, yes. And lots of these AML 90 Lynx destroyers with tons of infantry. Look how he has all of them basically split up already preemptively. These are going to be, and these are split up, these ones right here split up because these are going to be the guys leading the charge, and they'll be the ones taking hits. These ones haven't been split up yet. Whereas from Delta, we're seeing a lot of what he does. So a few Marder VTS 1s mixed in with his normal build. He has some Marder rolling 2s, which is new. Normally he waits until after to get these. You will have some Gazelle action here. And of course these Flak Panzers, he's been really favoring on the use of heavy Flak Panzer M42A1. Their autocannon does fairly well against infantry, and by fairly well I mean very well. And they can also deal with carriers and also aircraft, so they have a good wide variety of use. And if I've seen what wind is because I just ran up the stairs and down the stairs and put all my bastard dogs away because they started to howl. But yes, we're seeing from Delta a lot of autocannon. We sell MK20s also being deployed. And I just have to catch my breath and maybe watch this game happen. Can't believe we didn't have the play button on there. Oh well. Away we go. Now, of course, this is Hell's Highway, and Fiva55 is winning a lot of his matches with these really well orchestrated rushes in which he takes a lot of position and does a lot of small play. Whereas Delta's been doing it with opportunism. He's been getting a lot of command kills, and he's been getting a lot of pick-offs, basically. Killing it as he is. And here's like a style that he's basically innovated himself, in which he's going to deploy select helicopters at the various corners of the map to try and pick off any kind of vehicles. And here comes 2 helicopters and a recon along this side just to protect the reinforcement point, make sure there's no infantry, there's no foul play happening here. Of course, this is a little bit of map imbalance. There's a little Canadian barrels factory here, which if you deploy infantry in there, it becomes very difficult to hold that. A huge investment. And so here we go. It's going to be some Gazelle versus Gazelle action. Of course, Delta have group of 2, and we have Fiva55 with group of 1. And here we go. The engagement is good. Now the question is, who will take the bigger brunt of the damage? Morale damage so far favoring Fiva55. Might cause this one to rout. It is currently worried. Target firing on different helicopters at the moment. And actually, one of Fiva's helicopters was not firing. And this is going to cause a pretty massive loss early on in the game. All the while, the main flank, the main body of the army, we have this 2-flank approach here from Fiva. The first flank will be covering this woods location and this road, middle road, and he's going to have this other flank here covering against Echo and any kind of flanks on this side. Worried he plays Weasel and an infantry at this place because this is a very vicious place, a huge map imbalance that is going to severely favor Delta if he's able to get some infantry into this location. But here comes a fairly large rush. It's not all of his force, it's just some. And then there's a few others going to mount along a different flank. These AML lynxes. He's got a lot of these VABs carrying his patent Fusilier squad, which he'll be deploying on top of any of these vehicles that he can. The infantry, in the meantime, will be acting as buffers, taking as much damage as possible. Delta has a very early lead, largely because of the helicopter duel that just took place, in which Fiva55 lost 2 for relatively nothing. And look at his great management. The Bushmaster autocannon is off. He's just going to use the rocket. That's all he wants with this. And you see some infantry moving up. They shouldn't get too close. They shouldn't actually be able to hit, actually. They should all die. But this will allow for the Marder VTS-1s and the AML lynxes of Fiva55 to move up on Deltas. And Delta doesn't have quite a lot here, actually. Majority of his forces are creeping through the forest here, trying to get into Charlie. But of course, wait a minute. Fiva, you sexy dog, you. This is an all-in. This is absolutely an all-in. He has the 1 command armor chilling out here, getting a few units. But this is an all-in. This is something that Delta was not expecting. This whole tournament, Fiva's been doing 2 commands. And here is wasted units by Delta trying to creep through the woods to get to Charlie. There's nothing there. Completely caught off guard. This could be over quite fast, people. It will be one or the other. Currently, Delta has a huge lead, but the bulk of the army is creeping up. The AMX Roland 2s are massively out of position right now and getting fired on by all sorts of tank destroyers. As the majority of this tank destroyer army is coming forward, this is something that Bent Guru would do, and this is getting scary. This is not something that Delta was prepared for at all. Here comes this crazy unit squad coming forward, and he wants to get some command kills, but he's also here to destroy the army, and that's a big key difference between most all-ins and his style of all-in. And now we can see a huge battle taking place here, in which it looks like the forces of evil, that is Fiva55, are going to win this battle. Here comes some autocannon fire from these Weasel MK20s along the sides as the army of Fiva is going to micro back just a little bit, trying to get out of that autocannon range. Of course, the autocannon does crazy morale damage and just happens to do quite a bit of damage in itself, and going to pretty well micro everything back and trying to get out of range, because the range of these Marder VTS-1s is superior to the Weasel MK20, and that's something that you have to keep in mind. The Leopard is going to do significant damage, and he might lose a lot here. Currently, Fiva55 has about a 200-point lead, and when you're doing it all in, you want to see about that kind of victory rating. All the while, it looks like Delta is just really struggling to foster some sort of force to take over here. All the while, the Chasseurs are being deployed from the rear, and this is basically all he can do with what he has. A second command armor being rallied in for Fiva55 as he moves both of his command armors out of the way. The VABs will in fact come in here. Will he be able to do some damage though? That's the question. There's lots of units here, all kind of moving back at the wrong time, and big drop of Chasseurs here, and he might be able to kill a Chasseur squad or 2, but looks like he's mostly getting destroyed by everything around. All the while, command armors moving around. There is a Gazelle helicopter doing some damage to it. And this looks like Fiva has an opportunity to take the 4-point location and get a huge lead on his opponent, Delta. Delta still has these infantry around, and it's getting kind of scary, getting kind of hairy. And these are fairly high vetted Chasseurs. They're just taking the hits. While the commander of Fiva will go up to this Echo 4-point base and will return to the 2-point Bravo base, giving Fiva55 a huge lead. He's 500 points ahead on score, and he is pretty much economically dominating right now. Pretty much. Most of the forces for Delta are gone. And if this is Bent Guru style, which it looks like it is, I suspect what we'll see is a resupply by Fiva55 and then a killing blow. And if Delta's not prepared for this, if he doesn't have units for this, he could be in a lot of trouble. A Leopard 2A4 and no anti-air to support but it. There are some infantries. There are some VABs. There's a marder roll in 2 coming up. But here comes the helicopters. If they can get this commander killed, this could completely change the game completely. The Bradley CFE is firing to defend. The commander has full-on health, doing quite well. The VABs are coming around the flank, and the commander is getting rocketed down and forced to pull back just a little bit. And it could actually go down here. But no, the Cobras are going to get forced back. All the while, there is a group of chasseurs in the town here, in which it's going to be fairly hard for Fiva55 to remove. If you looked at the match from just here, you'd never know how these got here. Really bizarre for them to be there. All the while, Marder and 2s are going to get rallied out, trying to deal with these helicopters. And really, Delta's just doing what he can to stay in this game. It's really, really going to be hard for him to stay alive. These chasseurs are kind of the things you have to do. He's going to try and ride this position as long as he can. And looks like he might take more losses and gains, unfortunately. And we see small little pickoffs here. This is usually the stuff Delta's doing, just small little pickoffs to get huge wins. And here comes another Marder VTS-1 into the slaughter. And oh no, it looks like Delta's really starting to fall apart now, as he is able to get these Marder VTS-1s into a nice defensive position. But unfortunately, the Bradley CFV, the most overpowered unit in the entire game here, spotting, anything that's within a fairly good range is going to die. You can see, like, this CFV has a massive range on it. On top of having rockets and autocannon, it is probably due for a nerf pretty soon. It is definitely the most winningest unit in the game. They're very expensive, so you usually don't get 2, but just the 1 is just has insane practicality. Will he be able to see the mutt? Doesn't look like he can see the mutt, but pretty sizable losses. Honestly, at this point, it's Delta either has to tap out, call it a game, or prepare for some really big all-in. And he's actually going to pull a Bradley IFV, which is not to be confused with the Bradley CFV. The CFV is a recon vehicle, and this one is pretty much the exact same armaments, except without the recon capability. And of course, it's the recon capability that makes it particularly powerful. So it looks like we're going to see a command move up by Delta. He's got some flak panzers coming with him, so it's not going to be completely undefended. But it is going to become very vulnerable, which is a big key. Here comes some supply trucks here from Fiva55 as he tries to resupply very quickly. And this is going to be a very vulnerable position. I wouldn't be suspicious at all if Fiva just immediately attacked this Delta base. Huh, Delta base. And his name is Delta. He's taken the Delta base. That's hilarious, Delta. You're a funny guy. Alright. So skipping ahead, we see that Fiva's going to go with some anti-aircraft infantry. Doesn't want to risk anything, and that's kind of respectable. It is the finals. This is, I think, $1,500 minimum, and then like another $1,500 laptop. So, I mean, this is a fairly large prize money tournament. And it's not team. So, like, I think Dota 2 has like a $30,000 prize. I've been playing that quite a bit. But that's split amongst 6 team members. The 5 players and the 1 alternate. And that's with all the power of the ECL. So looks like this is going to slow down a bit. Unfortunately, oh Delta, I love you so much. Delta, realizing that he's in trouble, is rolling out an AMX AUF-1, also known as the OFI, and he's going to try and go for the this skill that we've heard of called luck. And artillery-based play is very luck-based. It's very easier to play. It's all about identifying spots where you believe units are, and on Hell's Highway, artillery is particularly powerful because there's only so many spots where units are going to be. So we see Fiva is going to use these rep fama, or just the rep actually, to go ahead and just continue sneaking forward, getting more vision. Like I said, doesn't want to play risky. He realizes the score right now. He realizes how far ahead he is, but that's no real excuse to throw the game, of course. So he's using these rep for vision, and his vision's probably pretty good. Yeah, he pretty much sees everything that's going on. Delta, on the other hand, only sees the Bradley CFE, which looks like he's going to try and all-in rush this bad boy. Not realizing, of course, there's a rep squad here that could do some heavy damage to him. The wee cell comes up, sniped immediately. And yeah, this is actually, truth be told, it's looking a lot like he's not playing one of the top players in the world. That's how good Fiva55 is. He looks like he's playing round 1, and that's no hit on Delta. Fiva55 has practice and he's played quite well. It's just this game does not look good for him. And truthfully, anyone who's faced Fiva55 so far in the tournament hasn't really looked all that good. And yeah, here comes more tank destroyers and lots of these rise patents, trying to go for some expensive units now. And he's probably going to try and push into this Delta location soon. Doesn't want his opponent to get too far ahead. His opponent's using these cheap Leopard 1A1s, 0 veterancy, so he's not too well stocked. And yeah, Fiva's initial push was just too good. Here comes a TPZ Books to die to some Fusilier squads, just in case you didn't notice. And there's 40 Yaugers in the woods here. But here we go. The Leopards are leading the charge as the tank destroyers are going down. AML Lynx is coming into support. Here comes the Bradley CFE trying to angle itself off to throw a rocket at some of these Leopards. And this is just not going to be enough damage. In fact, Delta is forced to retreat with the remaining forces he has. He's lost 4 tanks so far in this battle, and he's looking to lose at least another one. These Lynxes can actually pursue as well. They're not going to be deadlocked there. How has this tank not died yet? Okay, here comes the Bradley CFE with the good old Ito rockets. Trying to get into a position once again to throw off a rocket, and here we go. Ultimate tank destruction. It missed, actually. But devastatingly poor hit for Delta here. And Delta's on the verge of being kicked out of the tournament. Basically, at this point, Fiva55 can just sit and wait. He has a 1,000-point lead. There's pretty much no way for him to lose. Truthfully, if I was in his situation and I was able to win some prize money, I would start rallying at some artillery, just mass artillery, actually. Just play defensively, keep resupplying my units so they don't die, and I would just smash Delta in the face with artillery. And looks like Delta has in fact seen the push coming from good old Fiva55, and he's going to quickly try and move his commander out of here and evacuate back to his safe Gulf location. Not going to do him any favors. Or is he going to stay? Oh dear lord. Of course, a Weasel tow coming out into the field. Looks like there's some artillery out here for an AMX AUF-1 coming out for Fiva. And one rocket goes off at the Leopard 2A4, but nothing really hits. And that should be an easy kill. Yes, it is. And there's really no units left on the map here. Delta is completely screwed. And, I mean, looking at the Fiva cam, he doesn't have a clue. He has no idea how far ahead he is. He could actually just walk in there right now and just win, but he just doesn't know. And he doesn't want to risk it. And here comes some Yaugers. Finally, these Yaugers are going to come into effect. He wants to get these Yaugers into this very key location here, which, of course, as we know, is a factory which builds Canadian barrels and needs close protection from Fusilier squads. We don't want the terrorists getting hands on those Canadian barrels. And it looks like he's going to try and rally another Fusilier squad. He's going to get a lot of squads to actually try and deal with this Yaugers. There's 40 Yaugers. That's quite a bit. And these Yaugers also have their blind-to-side RPGs, which means they're going to be able to deal with pretty much everything that comes out. So this is no weak group of units here. And here comes 60 Fusiliers. No less than 60 Fusiliers will do this. The OP is going to give support as well. And this is probably the last hurrah of Delta, because after this he will not be able to attack. Already getting veterancy on these Yager units as they're just taking crazy amounts of damage. Small amounts of micro here from Fiva, and infantry micro is minor, but it's still something. He's rallying back panicked units and pushing forward weaker or stronger units. And this Yager squad should not last very long. Here comes a major mobilization of Weasel MK20s from Delta, as here comes a small little push from Fiva, and just Smalley creeping up. Smalley, that's not a word. That's not a word, Trouble. Slowly creeping up. He's going to use this Bradley CFB for vision and just slowly make ways in. And whoa, when did this happen? It looks like there's a huge flank here by Delta. Lots of infantry, and the commander was almost at risk. That's crazy. How did he do that? He doesn't even have units. And here comes another TPZ it looks like it's mostly in vain, truth be told, because none of these units are going to be able to do anything. He might be trying to get into the Ophi or the command number. Either or would be a great target, but unfortunately not going to do too much with that. All the while, as Fiva continues to reinforce, he will be preparing for a launch very, very soon. Oh, anti-infantry weaponry. Is this actually it? I believe this is it. We have a tap out by Delta. And the champion, the winner, the best player in the world. He has beaten over 1,700 opponents. His name is Fiva55. Congratulations to our Eastern European player. And I mean, realistically, if you're one of the top 66, this is going to be your guy. My name has been Troublemaker. I have lots of coverage of Wargame European Escalation post Wargame Cup. Well, this concludes my Wargame Cup coverage. I believe Fridays is going to be my new Wargame European Escalation day, so I'll always have content every single Friday. Definitely tune in, definitely come back. Thank you guys for staying tuned, staying with me throughout the tournament. It's been 3 months and a little under 100 matches casted by me. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you guys on Friday.